Your team doesn't care about your company. You know it. You see it every single day. They walk in at 9, drag themselves through the motions, and at 5 o'clock sharp, the office is empty. Meanwhile, you're still at your desk at midnight. You're answering emails on the weekend. You're losing sleep over numbers nobody else in the building even thinks about. And the worst part? You've already tried the obvious things. You raised salaries. You handed out bonuses. You bought new chairs. You did pizza Fridays. You sent everyone home early before the holidays. None of it worked because none of that is what makes people care. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to give you 10 specific rules. Practical, doable, things you can start using this week that actually make a team begin to care about a company the way the owner does. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to change Monday morning. And rule number 10, stick around for it, is the one almost no owner has the guts to actually do. It's also the one that changes everything. Rule number 1, give them a reason that's bigger than the paycheck. This is going to sound soft. It's not. People don't get out of bed on Monday because of money. Money just gets them through the door. What makes them care once they're inside is meaning. A story. A reason this thing you're all doing matters beyond a pay slip. Look at the companies people line up to work for. Tesla, SpaceX, Patagonia. They don't pay the most in their industries, not even close. They tell their team a story worth showing up for. And before you say, yeah, but I run a small business, I'm not Tesla. That doesn't matter. If you run a roofing company, your story might be, we make sure no family in this city sleeps under a leaking roof. If you run a restaurant, we give people 2 hours where the world doesn't matter. There's a real story behind why you started this thing. Find it. Name it. Say it out loud in front of your team until you're sick of hearing yourself say it. Because by then, they'll have actually heard it. Rule number 2, treat them like people, not headcount. This sounds obvious. It isn't. I've walked into hundreds of companies over the years, and most owners can quote their gross margin to 2 decimals, but can't tell me their head of sales' wife's name, or what their best engineer is actually working toward in his life. Your team feels that. They feel it the moment they walk in. When someone treats you like a unit of output, you behave like one. You give them exactly what's being measured and not a single thing more. But when someone genuinely sees you as a human being with a life outside this office, something flips. The calculation stops. The contribution starts. You don't need to be everyone's best friend. You just need to ask real questions, remember the answers, and notice when something's off. A 2-minute conversation that has nothing to do with work, done every week, builds more loyalty than any bonus you'll ever sign off on. Rule number 3, be radically transparent about the business. Most owners treat company information like a state secret. The team doesn't know the revenue, they don't know the margin. They have no idea if the company had a great month or a terrible one. And then those same owners wonder why their people don't think like owners. Well, how could they? You can't expect somebody to care about a game when you won't even tell them the score. Open the books. Not the salary list, that's different. The actual business numbers. Tell them how the month went. Tell them when a big deal closed. Tell them when something's going sideways. Watch what happens. The moment people understand the numbers of the business they work in, they start thinking about them. They start cutting waste without being asked. They start spotting opportunities you would have missed. Information creates owners. Hiding information creates hired hands. Rule number 4, celebrate the small wins, not just the big ones. Most owners are wired to chase the next milestone, the next big client, the next quarter, the next launch. And while you're staring at the horizon, your team is creating wins every single day that you walk straight past. A great customer call, a clean delivery. A problem nobody noticed because somebody caught it early. None of it gets mentioned. None of it gets seen. And here's what your team hears in that silence. What I do doesn't matter to him. Once that thought sets in, the energy starts leaking out of the company drop by drop. So make it a discipline. Catch people doing good things. Say something out loud in front of others the same day. 30 seconds of real acknowledgement does more than any quarterly bonus. Big wins motivate for a moment. Small wins, recognized consistently, build a culture that doesn't quit on you. If you're picking up something useful so far, do me a favor and hit the like button. Tells YouTube to show this to more business owners who need to hear it. Helps me out more than you'd think. Rule number 5. Give them real ownership, not fake titles. Most owners get this exactly backwards. They promote somebody to senior manager or head of whatever and think, now they'll care more. And then they keep making every decision themselves. They override the person's calls. They CC themselves on every email. They check every line item. And the person figures it out fast. The title is empty. I'm not actually trusted. So here's the rule. If you give someone responsibility, you have to actually let them carry it. Let them make decisions. Let them make mistakes. Let them own the outcome both ways. This is uncomfortable, especially if you've been the one controlling everything for years. But the moment a person feels they have real ownership over a real piece of the business, something shifts. They worry about it on Saturday. They wake up at 3 a.m. with ideas. They defend it when you're not in the room. That's what care looks like, and it only shows up when the ownership is real. Rule number 6, show them who they're actually helping. Almost no company does this, and it's one of the most underrated things you can pull off. Most of your team never sees the customer. They never see the person whose life their work is touching. They sit at a desk, do a task, go home. The task feels meaningless because it's been disconnected from any real human outcome. So bring the human back into the room. Read out a customer email at Monday's meeting. Bring a happy client in to talk for 10 minutes. Send the team a screenshot of a review, good or bad, and talk about it. There's a famous story about a janitor at NASA. Somebody asked him what he did there. He didn't say, "I clean floors." He said, "I'm helping put a man on the moon." Was that man building rockets? No. But somebody at NASA had done their job right. They had connected even the floors of the building to the bigger mission. That's leadership. Your team will only care about the company when they understand that what they do, no matter how small, actually changes somebody's life on the other end. Make that visible. Constantly. Rule number 7. Defend them publicly when things go wrong. This one separates the great owners from the average ones, and most owners fail it without realizing. When something blows up, a customer complains, a deal falls through, a project misses the deadline, most bosses side with the outsider. They apologize to the client by throwing their own person under the bus. They take the easy way out to look reasonable. Every time you do that, your team sees it. And the message they receive is, when it gets uncomfortable, the boss will not have my back. After that lands, nobody on your team will ever stick their neck out for the business again. Why would they? So here's the rule. In public, you defend your team. Always. You eat the heat. You fix it with the client. You take responsibility. Then, in private, behind a closed door, you have the hard conversation with your person. Directly, honestly, calmly. Your team will run through walls for an owner who shields them in public. They won't lift a finger for one who sells them out. Before we go further, if you're still watching, do me one more favor. Subscribe. I put out a new video every week, real practical stuff for business owners and managers. No hype, no get-rich-quick nonsense. Click the bell so you actually see the next one. Rule number 8. Invest in their growth as people, not just their job skills. Most owners think training means make them better at their job. Send them to a sales course, a software class, a leadership seminar, all directly tied to the role. That stuff is fine. But the level above that, the one almost nobody touches, is investing in the person, not just the position. I once paid for my team to take a course on personal style. Personal style. What does that have to do with running a company? Nothing. And everything. Because here's what I found out. When somebody gets stronger in any area of their life, confidence, communication, health, finances, anything at all, they start showing up stronger at work too. They speak with more authority. They take on bigger problems. They walk taller through the office. When you invest in your team as people, you're sending a signal that's almost impossible to fake. I'm not just using you, I'm building you. That's the kind of thing that creates lifetime loyalty. The employee who would never quit, even when a competitor offers them more money, is the one who knows their boss put real money into who they are, not just what they produce. Rule number 9. Live the values yourself. No double standards. This is the one that quietly makes or breaks every culture you'll ever build. Most owners write values on a wall and then violate them every day without noticing. They preach, "We treat people with respect," then yell at the receptionist. They say the customer comes first and cut corners the second the customer turns around. They talk about discipline and roll in at 11 a.m. with no explanation. Your team is watching, always watching, and the values your company actually has are not the ones on the poster. They're the ones you demonstrate when you think nobody's paying attention. Here's the brutal part. Your team will never care about the company more than you visibly do. If you take shortcuts, they'll take bigger ones. If you bend the rules, they'll break them. If you treat customers as numbers, so will they. But if they see you, the owner, holding the highest standard in the room, showing up on time, treating the smallest client with the same care as the biggest, doing the unglamorous work consistently, they will quietly rise to that standard themselves. Culture isn't what you say, it's what you do on the days nobody's celebrating you for doing it. And here it is. Rule number 10. Build the company with them, not above them. This is the one I told you to stick around for. Almost nobody pulls it off, and it changes everything. Here's the difference. Most owners build the company in their head. They make the plan, they set the direction, they decide where the business is going, then they hand it down as orders. Here's what we're doing this quarter. And the team, even the smart ones, even the loyal ones, they nod, they execute, and they stay emotional bystanders. Because it's your vision, not theirs. They're carrying out somebody else's dream. And nobody, deep down, gives their soul to somebody else's dream. So flip it. Start building the company with them. Ask for their thinking on the big questions. Bring them into real decisions. Let them shape the direction. Something fundamental shifts. It stops being your company they work for. It becomes our company we're building. That's not a slogan. That's a psychological shift. And once that shift happens, you don't have to motivate anyone anymore. They motivate themselves. They stay late because they want to, not because you ask. They protect the business when something goes wrong. They bring you their best ideas instead of saving them for their own future startup. This is the deepest level of caring you can ever build inside a company. And it costs you nothing. It just requires you to stop being the only one holding the steering wheel. Most owners will never do it. They're afraid of losing authority, afraid of being challenged, afraid the team will figure out they don't have all the answers. The ones who get over it don't run companies anymore. They run movements, so that's the 10. Give them a reason bigger than the paycheck. Treat them as people, not headcount. Be transparent about the business, celebrate the small wins, give them real ownership, not fake titles. Show them who they're actually helping. Defend them publicly when things go wrong. Invest in their growth as people. Live the values yourself, and build the company with them, not above them. Do these consistently, not for a week, not for a quarter, but over years, and you stop hearing they just don't care. You start seeing people who treat your business the way you do, who put in effort you never asked for, who stay even when a competitor waves more money at them. That isn't luck. That's built, one choice at a time. Now I'm curious, out of these 10, which one are you not doing right now? Be honest with yourself. Drop it in the comments. Tell me which one you're going to start with this week. I read every single comment, and I genuinely like to know which one hit home. See you in the next one.